it no longer serves. Wana Aho shinawana honata. Aho shinawana. Hey, wana washe, wana washe, wana washe, wana washe. Let go of the past. It no longer serves. Let go of the past. It no longer serves. Let go of that kung fu grip of what they did to you, what they could have done for you, what they should have done for you. The hell with that. It's too late. It's years later. Let go of the past. It no longer serves. Hey, thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, Great Mother. Thank you, power and the guidance of the medicine wheel. And guess what? All our relations. My friend B. Garcia, hello, good day. My sister, good to see you again. I want to thank my sister, my grandmother, the 18-inch buffalo hide medicine drum that I birthed on 1/17/24. Last week, I birthed this drum, and she sang so beautifully. Oh, look at the back of her. She's just dark and gorgeous like me. My head is almost as big as she is. So, happy Tuesday, everybody. I call it Tuesday, not Tuesday, because I ask you a question. What will you choose today that you didn't know how to choose yesterday? That you didn't or weren't able to choose last week, last month, last year, or last decade. Oh, you are not the same person you were yesterday, last week, last month, last year, last decade. You are not. You are a completely different soul than you were yesterday at 1:36 in the afternoon. Completely different soul. Yesterday was Moon Day. Today is Tuesday. What will you choose to choose or to chew on, right? It's a wordplay, that is better today than it was yesterday. That'll serve you better today. Let go of the past. It no longer serves. I have been active in the world, not just in Sedona, not just in Arizona, in the United States, Turtle Island, but in the world, in the universe. People have reached out to me from all over the world because people are trying to figure it out. Stop trying to figure it out. Be he who or she who allows, he or she who understands, he or she who is aware, who hears, who sees, who knows. Be he or she who is absolute in their being. There are many people who aren't absolute in their being because they're out there anesthetizing in so many different ways. They're anesthetizing over a conversation they had yesterday. It didn't serve them yesterday, and their stinking thinking is not serving them today. So you're living in that person's world. You're not living in your own world. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on into Tuesday and choose differently for yourself. Welcome, my sister Teresa Smith. So yesterday I talked about the inner world of peace and the inner world of conflict. We bring the outer world of conflict into our inner world, and we take that on. And I did that for years and years and years in my life. And my years of tears and fears and anger and shame and pain, I had to let go of, so I can say, Happy Tuesday. There aren't a lot of people that knew me when, and that's good. Because people that knew you when likes to throw shit in your face. They will, and they do, because they still know you and see you as that person. They don't see you as welcome to Tuesday. Welcome to Tuesday as the day after Moon Day. They're still in that time. My family is like that. And I can't hold that against them. It's not my fault they're stuck in that time. Not my fault. I have moved on in the world, in my world, not their world. So they are none of my business. What is your business? How will you allow yourself to choose differently? By the way, I just found out that today And if you want to choose to send me one, you can. I found out today was National Pie Day. Ooh, I love pie. Anyways, anybody who follows me knows that I love pie, and I make them deep dish pies in black iron skillets. Apple, berry, pumpkin. See, I choose to be able to talk about that because that makes my heart happy. It makes my taste buds happy. It makes my heart happy. You make my heart happy. Dolores, how you doing, baby girl? Stay warm. And, you know, I just got off the phone with a friend from Ohio. She's an artist, and she carries my drum, and I carry some of her medicines that she makes. And we had a great conversation, and, you know, reconnecting, you know, and I connected like that with like Dolores through Facebook. Dr. Teresa, we worked together in Los Angeles, and we're dear friends, and we've been there for each other. B. Garcia, you and I met where we met, right? You know, and here we are still to this day. Aho, in the same energies. Aho, Leanne, welcome aboard, Leanne Chaffee. You know, and I love the life that I live. You know, yesterday I sat at this desk for most of the day, and not because I wanted to, but because there was people wanting to speak to me. People needed to be mentored and nurtured, and I needed nurturing. And when I nurture you, I nurture me, because I allow myself to be open to the possibilities of whatever can happen. I don't close myself off. Wow, I'm seeing hearts, and thankful and grateful. Thank you, Teresa. And that affects my heart. I start to cough, right? So, so what are you going to choose today? How will you choose today? This morning, instead of getting up and doing a video, or getting on the phone, or going out into the workspace and creating a drum or a rattle or whatever, I drove myself across town over to West Sedona, over to the corner of Dry Creek Road and 89A to Layla's, and I had a nice breakfast with myself. It was just me. Me and my unshaven face. I'm noticing right now that I haven't shaven. I'll do that later today because I like having a nice shaven face. And who wants to kiss a guy that hasn't been shaven? Anyways, not that anybody's kissing me, but one can always hope, right? See, the possibilities are always there. The possibilities, I'm open to the possibilities. I hope. So, I talked about the inner peace and the inner conflict yesterday from the outer world. You know, when I would go visit my mom, I would listen to the white noise and hear all the TVs going on in the house. And I just had to be in my inner peace about that outer conflict. It wasn't my outer conflict. It was theirs. They choose to live there. They choose to be there. They choose to be and live in that. I don't. I live in Sedona it's peaceful, quiet life. And I carry that with me there. Now, saying that, when I lived in Los Angeles, I belonged to the San Fernando Sweat Lodge with my elder Picos and Hector and my friend Carlos and others. And what they taught me was, when there is no ceremony, Sweat Lodge, you carry ceremony within you. And I learned that lesson because when I first came to Sedona, I didn't know how to do ceremony. At least I didn't know that I knew how to do ceremony. And ceremony revealed itself in me, in the outer world, because I was invited to Sedona, which I had never heard of, to do a retreat and to do fire ceremony for a group of 20, 30 people. I had never done fire ceremony before. But I did from that point forward at the Arabella Hotel up on the hill around the fire pit. I did fire release ceremony for the first time. And my world has changed. And my life is about ceremony. And why was I able to do that for the first time and continue forward on doing that? Because I carry ceremony within me. I carry the ceremony between my mother and my father when I was birthed in her womb, in her sacrum. I carry the ceremony of being in the womb of the Inipi, the Sweat Lodge, in the womb of Mother Earth. I carry that within me. And I remember, my heart remembered that my elder said, you carry ceremony within you when you are not able to go to ceremony. Aho, aho. And I haven't been to Sweat Lodge in years, in 5 years. And I was talking to an elder friend of mine about it, Bear Cloud, as a matter of fact, here in Sedona. And, you know, I miss Sweat Lodge, but I carry ceremony within me when I do ceremony with you, when I turn on the camera and I sing Wana Washe, because singing Wana Washe is a ceremony. I feel that you're doing true to me too, in your DNA. I don't know about DNA, but, you know, I haven't been to Sweat Lodge in so long, and I've been invited in Monument Valley with my Dene friends, my Navajo friends, artist friends of mine. And one of these days I'll get back to it. But meanwhile, until the day comes when it's time for me to sit in the womb again, on the earth, in the dirt or on the grass, around the rocks, the grandmothers and the grandfathers, the stone people. Aho. Until that time, I will continue to carry ceremony within my heart, within my 4 chambers of the heart, like the 4 directions, right? The 4 chambers of the heart, I will carry that within the peace inside of me. The peace in me, P-E-A-C-E, is the P-I-E-C-E in me. And the P-I-E-C-E in me is the P-E-A-C-E in me. The peace in me is the peace in me. And the peace in me is the peace in me. That's a mantra that the guys gave me years ago. And I haven't said that in a long time. Oh, oh. So, you know, what do I choose today? I chose to take care of Anthony, both versions of Anthony, the little boy and the man who have been merged together and become W-H-O-L-E after a lifetime of H-O-L-E. I am whole. I say yes to myself after a lifetime of saying no's. How many of you do that? How many of you still continue to suffer at your own hand? And you choose that openly. And you choose that honestly. Right? My friend Teresa lives in Tehachapi. And she lives on her farm, and she has chickens, and she has snow, and she has mud, and she has all kinds of stuff. But you know, I'm going to tell you a story. My grandmother, as a little girl, lived in Tehachapi. My grandmother, my mom's mother. And when the spirit of St. Louis flew into Tehachapi and landed in Tehachapi, my grandmother was there at school. And she got to touch the spirit of St. Louis, right? I talk about spirit. I live in spirit. And she got to touch the spirit of St. Louis. And my grandmother's spirit lives in me. Woo! I just got emotional about that, right? My grandmother and I were always in conflict. She was a Catholic zealot, right? She lived, her husband was a pedophile. Why wouldn't she be a Catholic zealot? She was stuck in that marriage. She had no way out because the Catholic Church said, you have to stay there. They forced her to stay there with that pervert, with that lower form of energy. So she became a zealot for God, a zealot for Jesus, a zealot for the rosary, a zealot for kneeling, because she had no salvation, other salvation of freedom for herself. But her story of touching the spirit of St. Louis, that's a big deal to me, right? That's a part of history, as I have become a part of history in the lives of others. I've become a part of your history. I'm a part of Teresa's history. I'm a part of Bee's history. I'm a part of Leanne's history. You are a part of my history. Oh, and history is a mystery because we never know what's going to happen next. And we don't have to know. We just have to be in expectance. Expectance. What is expectance? I expect that something is going to happen, and it's none of my business what that is. I can't accept it for what it is because I don't know what it is. It's none of my business, right? So it happens. So I live in expectance. Was that? Yes, you sure are. Yes, I am. So I am happy. I have people, my phone has been ringing off the hook with people who want to make drums, people who want to hold ceremony, people who need mentoring. And if you want mentoring, and I really believe that people need mentoring in the way of the words that come out of their mouth, in the way that they speak to themselves. We don't know how to give ourselves better words because we watch television, we listen to the history of our lineage, we live in that, and we repeat what we hear, just like I repeated the alcoholism that my father was, and now I don't live in alcoholism, I live in alcoholism, right? I live in alcoholism because I don't have to call myself that lower life form, that lower vibration of the alcoholic, because I'm not the alcoholic. My name is Walking Crow, and I am transformational sacred drum medicine. I embody what that means. I embody Walking Crow. I embody transformational sacred drum medicine. What is that? It's me. It's all of me. Whether it's the drum, whether it's the teaching, whether it's the speaking, whether it's the loving, whether it's the expectance, whether it's the acceptance, whatever it is, I am that innate. And I embody those things. I embody the spirit of Walking Crow. Walking Crow. Why do they call you Walking Crow? Because I live on earth. I walk on earth and I fly in the heavens. Crow medicine. If you don't know, Crow medicine is keeper of the sacred law. Crow medicine is alchemy. Shape-shifting, moving from darkness to light, darkness to light. Why would I want to live in the darkness of my alcoholism when it's my alcoholism that isn't even apparent anymore? Nobody would ever know I was an alcoholic at one time in my life unless I told you. And I'm not anymore, so there's no reason to talk about it unless you're suffering from that ism or foodism, or egoism, or you've been molested, or whatever the thing is in your body that's affecting the way that you live or can live, your cancer, your heart disease, you've had to have your boobs done because you were less than and daddy didn't take care of you, but now you have boobs and men pay attention to you and then toss you aside. How did that work for you? So when you come into your heart and fix your broken heart and repair the 4 chambers in the heart, the 4 directions with the 4 medicines of earth, water, fire, and air, and have the understanding about how those things can help you, your life can change. You can become like me, a hollow bone, and receive and download information and songs and how to drum and how to speak and how to say the things that are necessary for those who need to hear them, to feel them and hear them. Hold on a sec. Skills are needed to live a spiritual life. You definitely have some to share. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. And, you know, when I was going to AA, they would say for free and for fun. But there's a price to pay in AA for free and for fun. You sit in those meetings day in and day out and day in and day out, and you hear the same old drama come into the ears, right? Put the cotton in your mouth and take it out of your ears, put it in your mouth, and all that shit goes in and it comes out, and you repeat that like a parrot. You parrot all that stuff. I have let go. I have transformed from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. I was never hopeless. I was only helpless. I asked for help, and I remain hopeful. Do you hear what I say? You don't have to keep speaking to the old paradigm. To the old paradigm. It's interesting that a paradigm, dimes is 20 cents. The number 2. The pillars. 11, the gateway. 2, the gateway. The pillars, the mirrors. The gateway. Move out of the old paradigm of the being. Move out of the old paradigm of the thinking, of the wanting, of the pettiness, of the jealousy, of the hurt, of the wound, of carrying around the shame like it's a fucking backpack. Really? Really? Move into a life that's lighter, that's easier. You know, you don't have to carry around a bowling ball in a backpack because somebody strapped it on you. You can take it off. You don't have to carry the burdens of the past. Wait, let me say that again. You don't have to carry the burdens of the past because they aren't your burdens. They're the burdens of your parents and your predecessors and your lineage. And you don't have to carry the burden of your lineage. I broke the chain of the burden of my lineage, of my alcoholism, and I live in alcoholism. And I live free from the bondage of self and bondage of my father and the bondage of my mother and my grandmother and my grandfather, of their pain. But I live in the spirit that my grandmother got to touch that flew into Tehachapi one day. Teresa, you don't know how much that makes me feel. It makes me want to cry. Because I get to accept that part of my grandmother, who was in me anyways. She had gray hair like me, you know. And I get emotional because I'm able to be emotional. Direction of the West is direction of the woman. Direction of the ocean, emotional. E-M-O-C-E-A-N, emotion. It's the depth, the darkness, right? The sacrum. It's where we're birthed. It's where we're birthed. It's where divine feminine comes together with divine masculine. All my understandings are woven together by the spirits, by the ancestors, by the ancient lineage that I carry. And I'm able to speak it because I fear nothing or nobody. I will say what I say till I cross over and move into the direction of the north, direction of winter, direction of earth, direction of the ancestors, direction of rest, direction of wisdom. Rest, wisdom. I love saying what I say. I love teaching what I teach. I have no apprehension about saying what I say, about believing what I believe. I was an apprehensive little kid and young adult who was stoned and drunk and fat and stupid and ignorant and angry and hurt and wounded and shamed and all of the above. But I was able to dog paddle in the shallow end long enough to learn how to broad stroke. Learn to broad stroke in the deep end, and my life has been in the deep end ever since. And I live as I live, not as they told me I had to live. When I left my old life, I left my old life. I still carry parts of it around to use as examples of the healing, of climbing up on the catapult and saying yes to myself and sending myself from the third dimension into the fifth dimension of the yes, I can, yes, I do, yes, I will, yes, 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 to the little boy who they told couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't, you're too stupid, you're a troublemaker, you're all these things. And I have overcome all of them. All of them. And I overcame myself because I was willing to let go of the bondage within me and learn how to take the outside rhetoric and leave it outside and bring the peace in. The pieces, right? The peace within, the peace in me is the peace in me. Bring the peaceful pieces within me and live in that beautiful space. How many of you would like to live in that beautiful space, or at least learn how? I'm going to be putting together a 6-week intensive, if you will, healing the language of lack and lineage. And it's going to be a class. It'll be an hour or two a week, every week for 6 weeks, of how to heal together. And my friend in Switzerland gave me this idea. Healing on my own is something that I've done, but I didn't really do it on my own because I was open to the spiritual world and the spiritual realm, and they came in and I let them take over. When I couldn't drive, when I couldn't drive, I turned on what do they call it? Cruise control. And I let them drive. I let them take over because I didn't know how to. I didn't know I wanted to. But I've been able to allow myself to take it off cruise control and take over the steering wheel and the gas pedal and the brake pedal and the key in the ignition and all those things. And I've driven myself in the direction that my heart has been wanting to go, which is in Sedona. Now, I live in Sedona, but I don't live for Sedona. There's a lot of people that I don't mix with here. That's okay. I don't have to. They're doing their thing, which is not my thing. And I'm doing my thing, which apparently isn't their thing. And that's okay. That's okay. Those that find me, find me. Those that want me, want me. But my reach is not just in Sedona. Apparently, my reach is in around the world because there's Marianne Cott and there's Julie O'Brien. And yesterday, Lisa Paul was on with me and so on and so forth. Karen Bright and all those souls in in Australia that have found me and reached across the waters. I was thinking of a Beatles song. It just came to me. Fly across the water, dance across the water, dance across the sky. I can't remember the name of that song, what that song is, but it's a Beatles song. You know, across the waters, across the sky. Oh, there go you and I. Oh, that's what I say. So it's Tuesday, and what are you willing to choose for yourself today that's better and different than yesterday, than last week, than last month, than last year, than last decade, than last lifetime? My name is Joaquin Crow, and I am proud to say that I am the transformational sacred drum medicine embodied. This is what embodiment looks like. This is what embodiment sounds like. Right? You know, healing isn't about, let me put my hands on you. I experienced this with somebody a couple of weeks ago. I met a woman who was suffering, and another person came around the counter and put their hands on her without even asking her. That's invasion of my privacy, of my soul. And don't do that to me. I would never do that to you. When I see you and I read you, and I don't tell you about it, I won't tell you about it because you are not my business until you say you are my business. I'm not going to tell you or read you just because I feel like doing it and telling you, spitting out shit. Healing is not about the Reiki or the energy or the prana and all those. It's not just about those things. Those of you who have done work in the emotional body. It's about doing work. I don't care how many sound bowl journeys you go to, or cacao ceremonies, or hape ceremonies you go to. None of that is going to heal you. They will assist in your healing of opening the pathways, the pathogens, but only you can do the soul work. Only you can do the shadow work. My shadow is not your shadow, and your shadow is not my shadow. I cast my own shadow in front of me, and when I walk away from the sun, when I walk towards the sun, it's behind me. When I walk towards the light, my shadow is behind me. Now, that's not new. That's not a new teaching, but you heard me say it directly to you. Those of you who have suffered through your parents, your grandparents, through an ism, whether it's alcoholism or somebody else's, a child of an adult alcoholic or whatever, an adult child of an alcoholic, or whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be. You are able to choose freedom for yourself after a lifetime of bondage and survival. People talk about surviving the world. The world is not about surviving. Surviving is what we do on a daily basis, but thriving is what we do once we heal the child. Once we are able to heal the wound. once we're able to care for ourselves and give and nurture ourselves, nurture the nature of ourselves, and say yes to ourselves and to others after a lifetime of no's. I hope not no's, but no's. Say yes to yourself after a lifetime of no's and learn how to be WHOLE instead of HOLE. Aho, aho. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I love you all. I love that people have been logging on to hear what I have to say. And a lot of what I have to say is repetitive because it works for me. What I do works for me, and there isn't anything new. There just is. How are you willing to do it, or are you willing to do it? Are you willing to say it? Will you be willing to say it? Speak up. Stop parroting the parrots, because there's a lot of parrots in the world. I said this yesterday's video, that for 2,000 years, parrots have been parroting the parrot about Jesus. And look at the world that the parrots have put the world into, the state of the world into, parroting Jesus, the Jesus consciousness. I love the Jesus Christ consciousness, but I don't listen to the parrots. I don't get into I know the Bible, but guess what? I don't use it as a weapon towards you or myself or others, right? I want love for you. I have transformed from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. I was never hopeless. I was only helpless. I asked for help and I remain hopeful. Can you? Will you? Do you? You matter to me. I don't get paid for talking like this unless you call me and you have a session with me. I don't get paid for this. But when you guys hear me, you hear me speak in the same vein all the time. Why in the same vein? Because it's where my blood flows. It's where the good flows. It's what's within me. It's what I internalize as good and sound and nurture the nature of who and what I am and who and what I have always been. I just didn't know how, but I know now. I know now how. Brown cow. You're a very wise man. Much gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for that compliment. I am always thankful when people see me and hear me as wisdom and not a fool. Because there was a time when I was always expounding, but I was drunk and I was a drunken fool. Even when I wasn't drinking, I was a sober fool at one time. Because I was a sober fool of shit. I was full of shit. I didn't know what was what. But I've opened myself to the universe, to the ancient ones. I'm an ancient one. Aho. Aho. So I'm going to repeat again. If you would like to sit with me for a 6-week intensive, 2 hours a week, healing the language of lack and lineage, please reach out to me, because that means something. How did I get to point B? How can you get to point B? You don't have to do it by yourself. You can have and ask for help, like I did, and remain hopeful. Aho, aho. My name is Walking Crow, and I am the transformational sacred drum medicine, asking you to say to yourself, Wana washe, wana washe, wana washe, wana washe. Let go of the past. It no longer serves. Let go of the past. It no longer serves. Let go of the past. It no longer serves. Hey, everybody, have a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. Or if you're in Australia, it's Warrior Wednesday already. Aho, aho. Aho. Be a warrior for yourself in the best way. Aho. Give yourself what you want that makes you happy. Nurture the nature of who and what you have always been and who they tried to take away from you. Aho. They didn't know any better. They couldn't help themselves. Walking Crow, Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine, wishing you happy Tuesday. Aho.